maker, Jim Beaver. Now take those old record songs to sell. I didn't listen to them by myself. Late records ain't got the same soul. I like that old time rock and roll. Feel like that old time rock and roll. Jim Beaver.
Settle down. Wow. You showed up. Idiots. Oh.
Gidget one.
Yes, indeed.
Oh no, Gidget two is my sister.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wow, I can't see anything. Hold on a second here. I'm going to waste time cleaning my glasses. I meant literally cleaning my glasses. Looks like somebody cleaned them with a Hershey bar. Talk among yourselves. Oh, there you are. Okay. Well, it gets chilly down south here, doesn't it? Speaking as an old Wyoming boy. Yes, I saw something online a few months ago that had it listed the most famous actor from every state. And it was like Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt, and for Wyoming it was me. But there was an asterisk next to my name because there were no other contestants. So, geez, that's bright. Okay, well, I'm gonna play for a while here, and that's not true. It's not my stuff, and I wouldn't know how to play it if it were. So, criminy, it goes back forever, doesn't it? Hi back there. Yeah, you're the ones who got in free, right? Yeah. Here we are this is Aurora, right? This is not Denver. Why do they call it Denver? Why do they call it DenverCon? Okay, well, I'm glad to be here in Aurora, which I think is a really cool word. I like Aurora. I guess because I'm not real good at just one-sided chatting, I guess we'll open this up for questions. They have a setup for that?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me. First of all, since you are a veteran, I'd like to thank you for your service.
Thank you. It hardly feels like it counts because I got out of the Marines 50 years ago.
It absolutely counts. I'm married to the Air Force, so I get it.
Well, thank you for yours.
I will be sure to tell my husband. He's sitting in the back. So my question for you is, because you played a fatherly figure for Sam and Dean, and because you're seen as a fatherly figure for most everybody here, do you feel a sense of fatherly pride for everything that the show has done and for what the actors have accomplished in their careers?
No. I take no responsibility for what they do.
Good or bad?
I learned a long time ago, and it was working with Jared and Jensen that taught me. Do not take responsibility for anything they do.
That's very valid.
Now, no, the weird thing about this show and my role on it is that I played a father figure, but I really never was one to the boys in real life. They're fully capable of screwing up their own lives without help from me. And I'm content to let them.
There we go.
So, but as a figure connected to the show, I'm very proud of the character and what he stood for. And I appreciate that you guys think that way about Bobby, and some of you deludedly transfer that to me. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is it all over there, or is it switching back and forth? Back and forth. Okay, hi.
Hi, Jim. What is the biggest difference to you acting for the stage versus acting on camera?
Well, there's two big differences. One is, there's actually three big differences. The first and foremost is you have an audience on stage, usually. I've been in plays where we didn't have one, but I was in a play once where we only had one guy in the audience, and he left in the middle. It was that good. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. The other big thing is that you do the entire story in one evening. Film and television both are largely mosaics that are put together with a piece of work from today, another piece of work that you did last week, and another piece of work you're going to do tomorrow, and they're all glued together eventually into the story. And you don't, when you're working, you don't have the through line exactly, and you have to keep it in your head. I've been on shows where I died the first day and still had another week's work to do. And it wasn't supernatural. So those are the big things. I mean, there's technical stuff like how big you project your voice and things like that. I really enjoy working on a good play. I don't always enjoy working on a bad play, but I really enjoy working on bad television. So there's a difference, because working on bad television will be over in a couple of hours. So, or at least the scene will be. And a bad play can go for months. So that's off the top of my head. You're welcome. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. We actually met several years ago at an Idlewild Film Festival.
I know.
Yes, okay. You premiered a short film you did about two brothers and they're transporting their father.
Oh my gosh, you saw that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. We spoke afterwards about
Yeah.
it. Do you have any more plans on doing any more film? Yourself that you've done?
No, I did that. The funny thing about that particular film, it was based on a play I wrote, and lots of times when I've had plays produced, people have said, "Oh, you should make that into a movie," and I go, "Yeah, well, you know, somebody show up with $900 million and we'll do it." And in this case, that's kind of what happened, except it wasn't $900 million, it was about $30. But I had produced this play, and the actors who were in it enjoyed it so much that about a year after we produced the play, I got a phone call and said, "We are making a film of your play. Would you like to direct it?" And I thought, that's the way to do it. Just sit back and wait for somebody else to raise the money and then call you up and tell you to be in charge. And so, but that may be the only time in history something like that's ever happened. And I'm going to wait until the next time it happens. I don't have a driving desire to direct. I keep writing stuff because ideas pop into my head. And of course, like most things most people write, most of them end up in a drawer or on a computer file, and they stay there, gathering whatever dust accumulates in a computer. And once in a while, you find an opportunity to produce the play. But producing films is a big deal involving a lot of people, and even the cheap ones aren't that cheap. So I don't have, I have been thinking about checking with the actors and see how they feel about me putting the film online. Because right now it's just sitting on a hard drive somewhere. But if I do, if we do, I'll probably mention it, and you could possibly see it. And then, like some people, you could see it and afterwards go, "What?" Because I know, I appreciate that you seem to have liked it, but a lot of people went, "What?" So, I like to divide opinion. Anyway, thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering what you think Bobby's reaction would have been when he found out Dean was finally coming to heaven.
Bobby's reaction, I think he probably thought, "I knew it. Yeah, good for him. About time." Or I could say something smart and stupid. But yeah, I think his reaction was, I don't think he was surprised, because I think Bobby always had faith in Dean. And figured he'll be along. That was a nice line, wasn't it? I loved saying that line in that episode. He'll be along. Anyway, does that answer anything?
Yes, but I was also hoping for him to say he was an idiot, but it might just be implied.
Such things go without saying. Hi.
Hello. This is my very first Supernatural convention ever.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you. And so my question is, I talked to Mark Shepard a couple of years ago about the Bobby Crowley kiss, and I was wondering if I could have like your perspective on how that worked for you.
I'm still picking some of his lunch out of my teeth. It is a moment that lives in infamy. I think Mark probably enjoys it more than I do. After all, he's the one who still has it on his phone. As to give a halfway serious answer, actors get called on to do all kinds of stuff that they would never ever do in real life, and I kind of approached it as, okay, that's what's happening in this story, and you know, it's we live in a world where people get titillated by all kinds of things. And I won't say that it was especially pleasant kissing Mark Shepard. And he may not have actually found it pleasant kissing me. But it was a cool thing to happen in the script, in the story. And I think in reality we just approached it as another day at the office. One in which the entire crew laughed at us all the time. But that's not so different from most days at that office anyway, so. But it has carried on and resonated and echoed through the centuries now. But just speaking as an actor, it wasn't all that different than killing a demon. It's what I did for a living that day. It's not something I'd want to do for a living all the time, but just another day at work, kissing a guy. A lot of people kiss guys. I don't see a problem. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, or at least the top half of you.
Yeah, I know. So I'm glad that the word idiot was mentioned because I have to know how that came about. Like, did you come up with that? Did the writers come up with it? Because it's iconic, so I would love to know.
It's some idiot in the writer's room came up with that. Some of you may know that I fought it. I saw it in the script and I said, do I have to say this? Because this sounds moronic. Half the people are going to go, what? And the other half are going to go, well, that's just stupid sounding. And I sit here before you today to confess that I was wrong. It still hasn't entered into my daily vocabulary unless I'm hanging around with you guys. And then idiot pops out quite often. So it wasn't my idea. And just to follow up, neither was balls. And I fought that one too. Shows what I know. Thank you.
Hi, Jim. This is also my very first con.
Welcome.
Thank you. Can you tell us about your experience filming the finale, and how did you feel about being one of the very few characters included in it?
That's loaded.
It was really important to me to get to be in that last episode. Not that I had any more right to be in it than anybody else, but Supernatural has been such an important part of my life for 15 years. I just couldn't imagine the show ending without some kind of closure involving Bobby. And the only feelings I have that aren't fully positive is that we didn't get to do the finale we had planned, which would have involved a lot more of the people you love on the show, and would have had some really fantastic moments, shall we say. And it was wonderful and really sad at the same time to be there on not only the last episode, I was there on the very last day, and we were all still feeling our way around this COVID thing, and so nobody was getting too close to each other, and we all had masks and stayed at a distance, and which was weird because it's a very huggy bunch. We who've worked on that show, I don't know how you'd find somebody who didn't feel like they loved everybody on it and felt loved by them. They will be family for me the rest of my life. The idea that we couldn't even hug each other felt weird and odd, and it was also, you know, at that point we were shooting in August or September of 2020, and it was still scary. I mean, not that it's not kind of scary now, but it was real scary then, and because nobody was vaccinated, so it was surreal. That's the word I'm looking for. And of course, us being us, by the end of the day when we shot the goodbye on the bridge, and the whole group was gathered there and they called cut for the last time, we all just ran around and hugged each other and cried and and said, I don't care if I die.
Did you all run around and hug each other and say, I don't care if I die?
And then we all went home and took Silkwood showers. So it was an honor to be part of that last one and to get to share it with Jensen. I was sad not to share the scenes with Jared, but he was there that day working, and I got to be with him. But having my last scene with Jensen was just wonderful. I love him so much. I love Jared so much, and I think Jensen is an amazing actor, and to get to play my last scene with him or with either of the boys was a real honor. So, thank you. Hello.
Hi, this is also my very first Supernatural convention.
Is anybody here for the second time? Okay, just checking.
So in Supernatural, there's a lot of unexplainable things that happen.
That's why they call it supernatural.
Right. But do you actually believe in that, like in real life, or?
I believe in what I see and what science tells me. I've never seen a ghost, and no scientist has ever told me there was one. Same applies to demons, werewolves, vampires, and Jefferson starships. So that would be a no.
Then how would you explain the EMF readings?
How do I explain the EMF readings? That's above my pay grade. I don't explain them. I'm sure somebody tries. I don't know, I never heard of EMF readings until I got on the show. Of course, I never heard of putting salt around your windows either, so it's a learning experience. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Rana, and
I'm Jim.
I started acting about 5.5 years ago because I wanted to be third demon from the end. Of course, that ship has sailed and it's all Canadian Day players anyway, and I didn't know that. So they say, well, you have to have coaching and class all during your career, and I wondered that you have gotten to be so venerable as opposed to vulnerable that do you get a class or coaching, or are you the coach?
Heaven forbid I should ever give anyone advice. I have, but I shouldn't. No, I've been a student since the day I was born and plan to continue being one. To me, it's all about learning every day how to do it better. And I've had great coaches and great teachers. It's not something I feel particularly qualified to do because I don't really know how I do what I do. I don't have a technique or a method, or I'm aware of the techniques and methods, and I've used bits and pieces of all of them depending on the circumstances of the material and the scene and who I'm playing. But I could never tell anybody, here's how I act. I just do it, and it's pure guesswork. It's pure guesswork every time, but it's guesswork informed by now a lot of years of experience. But I can tell somebody when I think they're missing the boat on a moment or something, and I can tell people how to prepare for a scene and how to make it seem like it's the first time this has ever happened, rather than maybe the 30th time you've shot it. But how to get into a character, I don't know. I just look at the script and go, well, if I were this guy, I think I'd do it this way. And there are a lot of people who can tell you very detailed ways of going about doing that well. I'm not one of those guys. So I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and always have been. Thank you. Good luck to you. Hi.
Hello. So I'm the person with the Lucifer question.
Oh yes, I recognize you.
Yeah, so just, I'd assume living in Wyoming, you've flown in and out of DIA to get to places.
Well, I got to tell you about Wyoming. My dad was going to the University of Wyoming for graduate school, and my parents were both Texans, and he had gotten a job preaching at a church in Laramie and was taking graduate courses at the university, and I happened to get born. Not sure how that came about, but it did happen. And then about 6, 7, 8 months later, I'm not quite sure, my dad got an offer for a job in Fort Worth, Texas. And they went back to Texas, and for some reason they took me with them. And so that's my experience of living in Wyoming. I've been back a few times, but I don't have big memories of being a Wyomingite. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Wyomingite? Wyomingian?
I'd go with Wyoming. I went to UW too. I was wondering which church did your dad preach at?
He preached at the Custer Street Church of Christ in Laramie. It's still there. And I suppose it's a really good church. I don't know. I was 6 months old. I got in free. I knew the preacher. Thank you.
Sorry, just the question that we've run away from was, what do you think of the Lucifer sculpture?
I have not seen the Lucifer sculpture. You mentioned it to me, but I haven't seen it. So my thoughts are limited on the subject.
All right.
But the story you told me about, I think it was you that told me the story about, that's kind of nasty. So, but yeah, like I said earlier, I believe in what I've seen. I haven't seen that yet, so I'm not sure I believe in it. Thanks a lot. Hello.
Hi, this is my first convention also.
Can we get this out of the way? How many are here for their first time?
Wow.
Jiminy Christmas. Okay.
My question is, what's your favorite Bobby line?
My favorite Bobby line. Get the hell off my property or I'll fill you so full of rock salt you crap margaritas. I hope I said that right. I'm sure you can correct me. Well, that's a line like that comes along and you look at it and you go, oh, how sweet. So, that was it. Thank you.
So I won't tell you, this is my first convention.
I thought it was me talking.
It's similar to what my wife says, but we won't get into that right now.
That's what she said to me.
Yeah. A few times from what I heard.
Give her my best, will you?
She's right there, you can tell her yourself. No, actually, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your online presence and for dealing with the trolls in the way that they need to be dealt with. I think that's one of those things on social media that we don't see very often, is someone that's willing to step out and say, you're out of line. And I wonder what it takes. I mean, I know it takes some intestinal fortitude to pull that off, but does it get to you?
I don't handle it that well all the time. Some of you may have noticed. I started out, when I first started on Supernatural, it was right at the end of working on Deadwood. The two shows kind of overlapped for me. And social media was just getting underway. 2006. It was probably another year before I discovered what Twitter was. I made a conscious choice at that time not to wall myself in. Now, I had no idea that anybody was ever going to put me on a stage in front of a group like this. It was real easy to say I'm not going to wall myself in because nobody was trying to get to me. That's changed a bit. But I thought I have done really well in my life by being openly who I am, and although I've spent a good deal of my life fairly timid about expressing myself, I felt best when I wasn't so timid. And I decided that's the guy I think I want to be on this new social media. I want people to be able to talk to me. I want people to ask me my opinion. I want to ask them about theirs. I want to answer them. I want to interact. And then this thing began to grow, and I realized that there were a lot of people out there who, A, were interested in what I did for a living and were interested in communicating with me, and B, didn't necessarily feel the same way I felt about things. And as we've seen in the last decade and a half, it has opened up into something that is not always pleasant, and sometimes rarely pleasant. But as I've gotten to be someone that more people know, I remember when I was so excited when I hit 300 Twitter followers. I thought, holy God, 300 people know who I am. And now it's hovering somewhere under 1 million. And one thing, you can't please everybody, but the sure way to failure is to try. I didn't say that, Robert Mitchum said that, and he probably took it from somebody else, but I have come to believe that I do not have a more important voice than anybody's. Mine's just as important as anybody else in the world. Because I'm an actor, I do not have any more right to speak out, but I also have no less responsibility to speak out. I think we all have a responsibility to stand up for what we believe in and to make our case for what we believe in. And social media has made that easier. It's made it more uncomfortable at times. But I just decided, to the best of my ability, I'm going to say my truth, and I want to hear yours. And all I ask is that we're fairly nice about it. And I did reach a point where I felt like I was engaging too deeply in something. I've been trying to teach my daughter for a number of years about social media. Don't poke the bear. That doesn't mean don't speak out. It means don't argue for the sake of arguing. Don't fight just because somebody said something you don't like. And I'm trying more and more to live that way myself. I took a little break from social media a year or so ago, and it kind of cleared my head, and I realized, to the best of my ability, I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm going to say what's important to me, and I hope all of you who communicate with me will say what's important to you, and we can discuss things. That's the way civilization has always worked best, is the marketplace of ideas, where all the ideas are tossed together and then the people figure out which ones are the best. I want to be part of that discussion, but I don't want to be part of an argument or a fight. There's good causes to stand up for and put yourself on the line for in much more physical ways than just Twitter. But I don't like to engage for the sake of proving I'm right. And it seems to have saved me a lot of trouble. I'll say what I think is right, and if somebody disagrees and gives me a reason, I may reconsider. And I think we've lost a lot of that reconsidering in this world. So that's a very long-winded answer, but and it would never fit in a single tweet. But thank you for asking. You should get into radio, man. You got a great voice. Hi.
Hello. I don't really have a question, just more of, I wanted to thank you. You're kind of an official mascot for my first deployment with my crew and I.
Really?
Yeah, we went to Afghanistan for my first deployment, and I brought my laptop and the first 5 seasons of Supernatural. And so as a crew, we would try to watch stuff to kind of help ground us after our missions and such. And when you came into one of the episodes, I was like, I love that dude as an actor. I love him in Deadwood, and I hadn't seen Deadwood at that point, and he had it with him. So then it became a struggle on what we were going to watch, because they wanted to keep watching Supernatural, but I wanted to watch Deadwood. So it just was kind of one of those, anytime we were done with a flight, we'd go, okay, are we going to do an episode each, or are we just going to do a train of one? So I just wanted to kind of thank you for being that unofficial kind of mascot while we were there.
My life is complete. I'm now being fought over by soldiers. Welcome home, brother. Come here.
Thank you.
Army, right? Air Force, never mind. I'm on this new show called, well, it's not a new show, but I'm new on a show called Be Positive. And yesterday I had to make a joke as a former Marine character about, I'm going to give away the joke. It's not that great a joke. It's an old one, actually. But you know what a Marine says to a sailor? Thanks for the ride. So I figured that'll be on CBS in 6 or 7 weeks, and I'll get hate mail from all the Navy guys. Just like I'm now going to get hate mail from the Air Force. So anyway, I think we're over here. Hi, thank you.
Hi, I have a question about Bobby's other famous one-liner that you hate. They're hated. At the end of Justified, Shelby delivers that one-liner, and I want to know, was that Shelby or was that actually Bobby?
We were shooting this scene. This won't make much sense unless you watched Justified, but my character, Shelby Parlow, was driving a truck and had to make a painful decision, and finally gave in and made the painful decision and turned the truck around and went back. And they said, when you hit the point in your mind where you've made the decision, just say something. Just say something to show you're kind of disgusted with yourself. And I went, oh, I know what to say. And so Shelby turned the truck around and went, balls. So, yes, indeed, that was a little Easter egg for you guys. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Jim. My name's Dave. This
Hi, Dave.
got awkward in the last couple of minutes. I'm retired Air Force, and I wanted to tell you thank you for being a Marine. But my older brother was Navy, so I'll pass your thanks on for that.
Please.
In 2019, you came to Denver for the, if I say it right, it was Comic-Con, now it's Pop Culture Con, and I think it's changed names since then. I was too sick to come, but my daughter came and got your autograph for me. And I told her I would ask her if you remembered her, because you called her name out as she was walking across, all the way across the auditorium there. Her name was Daytona.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be glad to know you remembered her.
Well, it's not like her name was Ann.
No.
But still, yeah. I remember that. I don't remember very much, but I do remember that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, tell Daytona hi for me.
I will.
Okay. Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm going to ask them.
First and foremost, I wanted to thank you for being a veteran. I thought it was really cool because the shirt I'm wearing actually supports veterans, so I thought that was fantastic. They're based out of West Virginia.
Terrific.
But my question was, what's your favorite memory from the entire series and working on the show?
That's a tough one because it was 15 years of solid, good memories. Really, really terrific. Probably my best memories don't have much to do with what was on camera, what you saw on film. It was the camaraderie with the crew. I love that crew. You've seen some of the outtakes of the different seasons, the gag reels, and you see how goofy the actors can be. Well, a lot of that's going on behind the camera too. So much joking and goofing around. It's a wonder we ever got the show made. But one of the genius things about that show was that we could goof around and have a great time and still get 8 days of work done in 8 days most of the time. And so my greatest memories of Supernatural will, I think, always be that brotherhood or sisterhood or wherever I fit in that with the crew and my fellow actors. It was a blessing and an honor to be part of that, and I miss it every day. And I've been on a lot of different shows, and believe me, it was magic there. It was magic. Thank you.
Hi, Jim. My name is Ann, and maybe
I remember.
I want you to know that my kids and I have watched Supernatural since the very beginning, and it's just been something that's brought us together through the years.
You.
My question to you is, how long does it take to do a whole season?
A whole season of Supernatural, we usually started in July and would finish around the first week or two of April. So, whatever that is, 10 months, 9 months. It takes normally about 8 working days to do an episode, and you multiply that by 22, give you a rough idea. Of course, there's, a week off for Thanksgiving, and then a week off for Canadian Thanksgiving, and a week off for Christmas and Canadian Christmas, and all of that stuff. And of course, most of us, with the exception of the 3 youngsters, aren't there every day. We just come in when we do our stuff. But yeah, July to April is a pretty good ballpark figure on that.
Sounds like a pretty good year to me.
Not bad. Beats working.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hello, dear.
Hi. So I have respected you for years, and I really love hearing your opinion, of course, online, and I read your autobiography, so I wanted to know if you were going to possibly write another one. I mean, you've experienced so much in 20 plus years since the first one.
Well, I have a book that is not autobiographical that I have been working on since 1978. And I am up to chapter 8. It is a biography, but just not of me. But I realized that if I was ever going to write another volume of memoirs, that I should probably get at it. And I've written a chapter or 2 of something that will probably bore the crap out of all of you. But I'm pushing to get this many years long project finished because I think it's the more important of the 2. But yeah, I have given some thought to it, mainly because I look back over my life and it seems like what's happened to me has not been terribly interesting, but it's left me with a lot of interesting stories. Some of those stories don't even necessarily involve me directly, but and some of them do. I mean, I'm a kid who came home from school one day in the 8th grade and discovered that his mother had paid someone to take away all the furniture. There's a story. I didn't do it. I just came home and found the house empty. And I figured I got a lot of those. And they're not all about my mother. But if you've got good stories, it seems kind of cool to share them. But at the same time, I find it enormously interesting that I got to do what I do for a living. Not that it's interesting to anybody else. I find it enormously interesting to me that they really let me do this, and that I got to do what I wanted to do so badly, and now I do it so badly. But old joke. But But I don't think of my life as terribly extraordinary other than that fact. But I got a lot of good stories. And as I got older, I realized some of them are worth repeating. So eventually, I got to finish this other book first. Thank you. Hello.
Hello. What was your least favorite thing to film?
My least favorite thing to film on Supernatural? I think we talked about it earlier, didn't we? No, Kissing Mark wasn't that bad. It was pretty bad, but my least favorite thing. It's hard to say. I mean, there were some moments where things were physically really difficult to do. I nearly broke my shoulder trying to break down a door in was it the Magnificent Seven. There wasn't anything wrong with the scene. It was just I'm decrepit and it hurt. I was not terribly happy. I was so happy to be back on the show, but I was not as happy playing alternate universe Bobby as I was the OG. And like I said, I was very happy to be back, but I missed the camaraderie and the banter and the love with the boys, which I thought was really at the heart of Bobby. You know, what I really hated was pretending it was summer in Kansas when it was 11 degrees in Vancouver. And we were in short sleeve shirts and it was raining. Yeah, that's probably what I hated most. I'm not big on cold. That's why I left Wyoming. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. There's a lot of talk and desire for Supernatural to continue. So I was just wondering if there's, maybe you or the boys talked about maybe doing like a 10-episode continuation to see what life would be like with you guys in heaven.
I'm game. I haven't heard anything about anything like that, but I mean, come on, they brought back different strokes, didn't they? I mean, if they're gonna bring that stuff back, at some point it seems like they gotta bring this show back.
The ending was so beautifully done. It was so, emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And everything just connected really well. I don't want to ruin that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've written a number of short plays that run anywhere from 10 to 30 to 40 minutes. And people are always saying, oh, you should expand that. You should make it longer. You should fill out the story. But sometimes the story is the story. And it ends when it needs to end. I'm not saying that's the case with Supernatural, but it might be. I'd welcome the chance to return to it in any situation, and but I have no idea if it'll ever happen. Thank you.
How was it, Jim?
Well, it was pretty good till the band showed up.
We always get that. No one ever wants to see us come out on stage. They love it at the beginning, but then at the end they're like, tired of these guys. Well, we love you, Jim. Coming or going.